Welcome all to your daily dungeon, a friendly podcast with some of the six best people I've ever spent time with, and some of the best dungeoneers I've ever played with this game. With me today, I've got Adam, who is playing a.
I am playing a half-elf cleric named What Cantier.
All right, I have Eric Stanford playing.
Human wizard named Mel.
All right, and Don.
I am a dragonborn paladin called Nadar.
Kyle Faferos, our lovely proprietor and our resident, I believe, warlock. Is it, Kyle?
Yes, tiefling warlock.
Name?
Named Amnon.
Oh, but I think you also have some company with you, don't you, Amnon?
A little bit, yeah. Accompanied by my spiritual guardian, let's say, Zarbdock.
All right. And then we have Swank playing.
I'm playing a wood elf druid by the name of Devros.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, we've got Zach playing everyone's favorite gnome.
Oh, good God.
I'm playing a gnome rogue called Dijo Joe.
And this is Cast, powered by Your Daily Nerd. This will be episode 1. The name of this episode is still in the works, but I'm sure that we'll have something quite interesting by the time we finish. Hopefully it'll be an interesting quote like, "Oh my God, don't open that trash can lid, please."
That's the name of the episode.
Episode 3, Port Skyrim to Fridge.
I mean, he said it. It's the name.
That has to be the name of the episode, even if there's no trash can ever in the entire campaign. That's the name of the episode.
We will find
All
a
right.
trash can.
No,
So let's go ahead.
you just have to throw a trash can in there.
Yes.
You can say, hey,
All right.
I mean, Dijo is a trash can of a character, so...
Back.
Oh. All
All
right. I'm not making any promises, but let's go ahead and let's get started.
All right.
So, our adventurers today find themselves riding in the back of a jail wagon through the main city and the capital city of a vast empire. The capital city's name is Cordis. As they ride through the city, they find themselves shackled to 6 strangers. The smell of blood and rust permeates the air, and you see that there are no windows on this wood carriage that is barren of all materials, other than some seats for you to sit on, made of wood. No furnishings at all to make it any comfortable. The air is thick and humid from the previous rain, and you can hear the sounds of hooves beating upon the cobblestone street. The wheels turning beside you make a strange, almost distant scratching sound, as if this isn't really even happening to you. Before this day, none of you have ever really been inside of a prison wagon like this. Perhaps you may have been jailed before, been in some mischief, but no, today you ride to your own execution. Though none of you are gagged, you've been silent up until this point, until finally someone speaks up.
We're almost there yet?
Where exactly is there, anyway? I don't even know how long we've been in here.
I think if anybody knew how much, I'd be a little bit more worried.
Wait, worried about what?
Let's put it this way.
Why we're here.
Let's put it this way. You were shuttled into this wagon roughly 10 minutes ago, and you've been riding across town. You crossed a large bridge that spans over the Center River in town. You could hear the rushing of the river going out into the ocean. Aside from that, the journey has not been particularly long, and it's early in the morning. You slept in jail cells the night before after having been arrested. Some more contextual information. Your characters were arrested for illegally entering into the capital and had an encounter the evening before that none of you really remember at all. The night was very, very hazy, and you can't seem to piece the memories together. but for some strange reason, these 6 individuals around you seem as if that they were there with you. They are vaguely familiar to your face, though they be strangers, genuine. So, Dijo spoke up first, asking, when will we be there? Or something along those lines. Am I correct, Dijo?
You're absolutely correct.
Well, we got to be getting close.
The question is, where are we going?
One more time, Zarbdoc?
I mean, we got to be getting close. Like, if we're... from the sounds of it, it sounds like we're crossing over a bridge, so... Like, that seems to be going over a major river, so I would think that we'd probably be getting close to wherever we're going.
Your characters do notice that there is a slide on the carriage to speak to the driver in the event that you need to.
So who plans on opening that?
I'll just reach over and slide it open. Hey, where the fuck are we going? We there yet?
The driver of the carriage is accompanied by a town guard who is seated beside him. The town guard looks back, reaches over, grabs the thing, grabs the little slide door that you had, and he says, "Be quiet, prisoner. No one asked you any questions, and I don't expect to be asked any from you. Now,
What about me?
I will answer this one because it enjoyed. Shut up, silly little gnome." The guard speaking to you is a dragonborn. As he kind of glares through the little hovel, his chainmail clinks as he leans forward and tightens his grip on the sliding door, and he says, "If you really don't already know, you're being taken to a public execution. Claims of dragon blood are quite heinous, and all of you have been found guilty of being perpetrating of this."
Nadar just kind of looks around like, who else has dragon blood? Wasn't me.
I say,
I'm pretty sure you got the wrong Wood Elf.
Yeah, where's the DNA test that proves this?
I guess my question is, why have the slidey thing on our side if you don't want us to open it and talk to you? That's my real question.
He looks at it, he says, "Traditionally, a guard is supposed to ride in the back, but as you can see,
Were you
you're
too
quite
scared?
full up back there."
Oh.
He kind of tilts his head and grins at you. As you see that the rain from yesterday returns once again. The clouds are low and hanging and very, very grayed as rain begins to fall gently. He says, "The one who should genuinely be afraid, Elf, is you. You should count yourself lucky that you're free and that you may die a free man. Oh, the good days when your race was less talkative."
Don't get me wrong, I am in fact terrified. I just mask my fear through arrogance.
The driver says, "Oh, poor lad, that's called bravado."
Yeah.
The driver is a young human who wears like a nice leather hat with a brim flipped back and worn leather jacket and a little dark gambeson, which is like a very thick woolly shirt. He looks a little bit sorrowful at you guys. His age looks to be very obvious with his crow's feet and graying hair and graying beard. He seems to be a little bit more friendly to you guys as he kind of glances over his shoulder as the wagon pulls to a stop. Without any windows, you can't see what you've stopped in front of, but all of you can mostly assume that it's more than likely the jail.
Great.
Does anybody remember what happened the other night?
Not for the life of me.
Did you kill anybody?
remember who?
I feel like I got hit by a carriage.
I don't even know where we are right now, man.
Apparently we're being executed for a crime nobody remembers committing.
If I had to look around this cart and assume who had dragon blood in them, I would not point at myself, to be fair.
Me either.
Okay.
As you guys are discussing, you hear the sounds of heavy mailed footsteps and the sounds of what must be a dozen to half a dozen men somewhere in there motioning around the cart as you hear the sounds of the door bolting and the wood creaking. The air itself feels almost thick as blood as the humidity from the rain begins to pour in as the door opens up. The street slightly steams from the heat that was bearing down on it before the day. The cobblestones, a rich yellow, now are baked into a brown color from the rain. Around you, you see normal buildings as the guards usher you out, made of wood and thatch roofing. You guys are on the edge of town, out of the actual center mercantile circle and out of the the residential district where the nobles stay. You guys are just in view of the actual city wall and of the ocean behind it.
Would Nadar know, like, geographically what, or have an idea of what city this is?
It's pretty common knowledge that Cortadis is the only capital city like this big of a city that rests upon the actual coast. So it's pretty obvious that you're in the capital.
Okay. Like, just kind of like getting out, like, or having the carriage door open. Like, Nadar has like this feeling of like he kind of maybe got everybody. He doesn't know what happened, but like obviously they're after someone with dragon blood. Me, kind of feels responsible for having gotten everybody else into this by whatever happened. It's like he's just kind of like right now taking that in, not like kind of trying to figure out what the fuck or what the hell's going to happen at this point.
All right. So, as you find yourselves being ushered out of the back of the wagon, you guys are bound together by a chain that links from cuff to cuff and from ankle to ankle. It spans about 30 feet from front to back. I think that's how much space you guys cover individually, right? 6 times 5. Yep.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Good old
the chain jingles at your feet along the cobblestones as you guys are walked up the precipice of what is a great keep of a jail. Stone walls, centered with mortar in the middle, bring up a hill of a path that is made of the same cobblestones as the street. There is a light layer of grass surrounding it that is now thick with rainwater running down. You see guards upon the precipice of the actual battlements, looking down upon you with a dour look. A mixture of humans and dragonborns mount the walls. As you guys approach the main gate, you see that it is of a wrought iron fence that is very, very magically kept. You would think that after it being so long, it'd be heavily rusted, but it looks as if it's the day it's been made. Indeed, when it rises up unnaturally quickly, you feel. As if the even mechanism itself has been kept fresh since the day it was made. Several guards dressed in silver chainmail with a, like, the garment that rests over armor. I think it's
Mantle.
Yes, thank you. It's a tabard. He's correct. Thank you. It's actually some things are, I think, frocks. I think it's called a frock also, when it's actually like a piece of, like, an entire clothing piece that goes over your armor. And they're wearing frocks of black with red trim. And the city sigil is upon it. The sigil of the city is a dragon's paw. Or a dragon's... would it still be a paw?
I think it's a claw.
Claw?
It's like the actual, like, foot of a dragon.
It would be a maw in its mouth.
That's its mouth. It's definitely its mouth.
The claw, I feel like, is the in key.
I mean, what's really
Like-
the difference?
A foot. It's a foot
It's a dragon foot.
with claws.
We'll call it a dragon trash can.
There it is.
Found it!
This is a mistake already.
Oh, man.
Jesus Christ.
I just love when it shows.
So we're walking up, and there's a bunch of guards around us,
Mhm.
right? Right, no,
About 8 to 10 now that you can see.
any of them human?
Yeah, there's about let's see.
A lot.
All of them are human. All of them are human. Yeah. How'd you know? I rolled a D12 and got a 12, and I was like, Neat.
Well,
All of them are human.
Rolling dice.
So, like, being extremely quiet on the carriage ride, he's just gonna go up to one of the guards and be like, "Hey, look, I honestly don't know why I'm here. Like, is there like any way I can talk to somebody like in charge? 'Cause
Does a 17 hit you?
Yeah.
No, Ian, it does not. Yeah.
That's me.
So the guard who's holding a polearm, a halberd specifically, looks at you as you approach him and kind of like eyeballs you. You can tell that even though he's wearing a helmet, he's got an eyebrow cocked at you, like, "Why the fuck are you talking to me?" And like halfway through your sentence, since you're standing within conversational distance with him, he takes the polearm, which he has kind of like a staff beside him. He just like rams it into your nose, and you feel your nose bend in an uncomfortable way, and you smell copper. Do you have a beard?
No.
Any facial hair?
Maybe like 5 o'clock shadow.
Is that chops?
All right. So
Not always weird like this, but
your nose is not broken, but you definitely feel like he probably busted a couple of capillaries up in that mother.
Okay. Fine. Gosh. Holding my
So
nose,
Ian-
walking back like,
The dart pushes him along. Like, he's got the asshole.
The guard mutters "traitor" under his breath.
He mutters something under his breath.
He called you a
He muttered "traitor."
Oh. Okay. I just keep mental note. No, I turn around. What's your badge number?
Nadar will take a step away from him,
No.
waiting for the next hit.
No.
You don't actually say that.
I mental note.
A mental note.
Mental note.
Yes.
Badge number.
Was the muttering under his breath something the rest of us could hear, or no?
Give me a perception check.
Does that everybody give a perception check, or?
Yeah, if you'd like, sure.
I heard it. So
Really 20 on that perception check?
I rolled a 6.
I rolled an 11.
Oh, okay.
I rolled a
Adam.
12.
12. All right.
Cool.
Basically, if you rolled higher than a 10, you heard it.
I heard shit.
Okay, I didn't want to do anything.
Yeah,
I didn't
no,
want to
didn't
do
hear that.
anything. I just wanted to like make a note, basically.
So,
All right,
assuming,
no problem.
They're like saw some of what happened to him.
I'm sorry.
I'm assuming that we all heard what happened specifically, that he got like punched in the face or whatever.
Yeah, that was pretty noisy, especially since Mel made some noise when he got struck in the nose.
Yeah.
So the guards usher you in through the precipice of the gate, and you guys enter into a courtyard where the cobblestone path wraps around and narrows out to about a 5-foot width, and goes up out of this little area. This little courtyard looks like a portcullis, almost as if like if invaders were to invade this little keep, they could, if they lost that first wall, they could funnel in guys here and then fire arrows down upon them from the battlements and keep them protected, and then keep the inner side of the fort sealed off. To your right, as you guys enter in, you see what looks to be like that same kind of like marbled surface of the tower of the guards up top, and right there at the base of the tower there is a door. The door is like of a heavy wooden oak, and it looks to be beautifully carved, and on it is depicted what looks to be like the emperor himself riding upon a dragon.
Somebody thinks pretty highly of themselves.
It's pretty damn
that in
pompous
character?
if I've ever heard it.
That was in character.
Nadar's pretty
Am I-
jealous.
Pretty
That's
jealous.
pretty badass.
Damn, wish I had a pet dragon.
Wards chuckles and he says, "It's not exactly his pet. That's Balthasaurus he rides upon. Don't you know that your emperor is a just and wise man, and has been granted the favor and he points at the mural. Can bend to the favor of Balthazarus. He is the chosen one.
Look, we've heard enough about chosen ones to last a lifetime. Please, can we just get on with this?
I don't say anything, but my facial expression is like the epitome of that's a load of shit.
Nadar's gonna.
I ask, what did he do to get chosen?
One of the
Is there, like,
guards
a
looks
raffle
at
for
you
that now?
blankly, Watt, with like a look of surprise, and kind of like shakes his head. While the other guard looks over at you, Amnon, and he reaches forward and he grabs you forcefully by the horn on top of your head, and yanks your head down to look at your horn.
Ow,
And he says,
ow, 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 ow.
He looks at your horn, and you see him dig in his pocket with something else, and he pulls out what looks to be like a large file, and he holds it to your face, and he says,
Whoa.
"Why are your horns pointed?"
Because I'm a tiefling.
They come like that.
That's how I was. I was born this way, damn it.
They come like that.
Yeah, I see him at the store all the time like that.
One of the guards hands you the file, and he says, "Die with some honor," and he kind of like hands it to you.
Die with some honor.
He's just like, hey, aren't those for your nails?
Nadar's gonna.
It's a large file. It looks like it's specifically made to file horns and or talons.
So, no, Dijo, fuck
do
you.
the same thing.
Would any of you like to make an insight check?
I'll make one.
Well, Nadar was gonna ask if so fair and wise. Why is he accusing people of a crime they don't know committing?
You said insight check?
Yes, an insight check. And to answer your question, Nadar, the guard looks at you and he says, "Were you not there at your own trial? You know. I don't need to explain anything to you. You've been found guilty, and this is your execution. You're not talking your way out of this."
What trial? We recall nothing.
I rolled a 17,
He reaches
by the
over-
way.
A 17.
I rolled an
so,
8.
For those of you that rolled an insight check, it was a 12 to pass.
Oh, no.
And so specifically, Mel, you know that file is specifically made for tieflings to one, humiliate them, but two, to also symbolize that a tiefling is an obedient tiefling.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not an obedient tiefling.
You, son.
And Davros, you know that file must be made specifically for his horns, or for his horns. It's not just a file they use for things.
All right, fine. I'll fall in line. Whatever. Just know that we are not happy about this.
So you actually start filing your horns?
Yeah, fine. Fuck it.
I slapped the file out of his hand.
Hey, look, I was trying to fall in line, man. It's he's the one that's trying to help me out.
One of the guards goes to punch you in the stomach, Davros. He's gonna miss. He swings, and you definitely step out of his swing. He trips over the chain that you guys are latched between, and falls on the ground in the dirt and the mud beside the cobblestone path.
I laughed.
The other guards. Who left? Amnon did?
I laughed.
And me.
No, that was DJ.
Joe,
Oh,
the,
teach
the ass.
He laughs.
Several of the guards stand up, the guy that fell, and they say, calm down, what are you doing? Are you going to punch a dead man? That's what he is. And one of the guards yanks on the lead to your chains and commands you guys to step through the next entryway.
I mean, at least I'm standing up.
Who's the leader right now? Like, who's up front?
So, up front, I have Davros, and in the back, I have Amnon.
Sounds about right.
And the way this works is that you could have walked back there with your chains. You're not, like, stuck on a rigid mount. It's loose chains. You could have walked back there and slapped that out of his hand. Does that make sense? Basically, you have leeway with your chains.
It's just that we're confined.
Yeah, it's just that we're chained up.
Mm-hmm. It's not like it's a metal bar that's kind of like keeping you guys connected. It's a bunch of like loose chains.
No. All right.
So you guys are led into the next courtyard. You see a thatched roof shack built onto the ground, and what looks to be like a U-shaped area. And inside this U-shaped area, you can see there's 3 stories, ladders leading up to each story, centered around a plain courtyard. But there is an arena built into the courtyard with like little straps and things to keep somebody inside, almost as if it looks like a boxing arena or something like that, out of character.
Neat.
In the very center of the U-shape, on the top story, making a 4th-story only to itself, there looks to be like a viewer's box or perhaps a spectator's box with big, beautiful windows and like a little veranda that looks out onto the courtyard. You can likely infer that this is where the warden comes out to view the inmates when they have their yard time. You guys are led up to what looks to be like 6 stocks that are occupying themselves around the cobblestone path that leads its way up to the arena and snakes off to each junction of the U-shaped courtyard. The courtyard is lightly grassed as well, like the previous area, and it runs straight up to the cobblestone, and the grass is very neatly kept. So, in addition to that, you notice that all of the inmates are watching you guys as you enter in, and you see that there what looks to be like a giant scrying orb that hovers very lightly over the entire keep. This orb is easily 30 to 40 feet across, and it looks like it's projecting an image of you guys onto it. From what looks to be like the veranda
I
on the
notice I'm gonna like
spectators.
wave and see myself waving the orb.
Mm-hmm.
What does that orb
So,
do?
it's just an orb. It's just like a big scrying orb.
Okay.
Kind of like, you know the Palantirs in Lord of the Rings that you can like look through, the thing that you can see Sauron's eye in that Pippin
Right.
touches?
Yeah.
It looks like that, only it's traditionally black surface. Is kind of like a milky white with like a mirrored image of you guys upon the center of it that conforms almost to the entirety of the orb.
Gotcha.
All right. So,
So
they have like
So what-
6 cages, right? That they're
yeah, they have 6 stocks out. Yes.
Are they putting us in those?
Yeah, these stocks look to be very crudely made, almost as if they were put together this morning for you guys. The wood itself looks to be thin and flimsy, and when they strap you in and lock you down, the shackles are of rusted iron. If you move left and right, the actual stock kind of like shakes in place a little bit.
Fun.
You can look down and you can see that the grass you're standing in is starting to pool with water and get a little muddy. Here,
Just bought these shoes.
I'm getting all of
A guard looks at you and grabs you by the hair, Mel, and like lifts your head up in the stock, and he says, "Too bad you won't get to use them for much longer, huh?" And he spits in your face.
First of all, rude. There is no second of all. That's just rude.
Amnon, you find. Hang on, give me 1 second, Adam. Amnon, you find that when they put your head in the stocks, you actually can't like. So you know how when you're like in a stock, your head's down and you can look up.
Mm-hmm.
You find that you actually can't lift your head to full bear because the stocks are not designed with your horns in mind.
Fantastic.
So you're pretty much stuck to looking at what you peripherally can see, which is those beside you, and
Those-
like just
those shoes
your
look good.
immediate like 5 feet in front of you.
Who am I between?
Hey, I'll tell you. So Mel, you are between Amnon and let's see, that is Nadar.
Okay.
Those are some nice shoes, though. I gotta admit. That's all I can see, but those are some new shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I got them at this like really nice thrift store. One of those in the like hole in the wall places.
Ye old Payless, got it.
Yeah. The old Payless.
Ye old Payless.
Episode title?
Episode title right there.
Before we have 2 episode titles.
So I kind of lean over to the side of my cage where Amnon is on. I'm like, yeah, do you have any ideas on how we might be able to get out of this?
It's gonna take some planning, but I don't think it's impossible. I just think it's gonna suck really hard.
Ian, can I do a perception check? Or who's around us? Like, does anybody look like they have somewhat like sympathy towards us, or is it just like all cold shoulders?
So this is almost like a spectacle, to be perfectly honest. Like the guards and the inmates are all kind of not necessarily sympathizing with you or hating you, but it's almost like they don't fully understand what's going on. They've just been told what to do. The inmates are definitely looking at you like you're a spectacle.
So the people closest to us right now are the guards, then, right?
Correct. They're roughly like 10, 15 feet away from you. They finished locking you up, and now they're kind of like idling off to the sides of the arena.
Nadar's thinking right now is like, we've got to make a friend with somebody, or else this is going to be a very short adventure for me.
I'm gonna call one of the guards over to me.
I look at 2.
Let's see. Let's see how unlucky you are. Fairly unlucky.
Fantastic.
The guard that handed you the file walks over. And he looks over and he goes like, "Oh, that's right. I almost forgot." He grabs you by one of your horns and sets the file to your head. He says, "Think carefully about what your next words are."
So hey, man. I know we got off on the wrong foot, but this is no good. Obviously, you were there for my trial. I don't really remember much of it, but obviously, I've got no dragon blood in me, man. What do I have to do with this? But I'll let you in.
So,
go ahead.
He crouches down while holding
I wanna say something when you're
holding the
done.
horn. So he's got you like this now, and he like looks at you in the eyes, and he says, "Now, don't think that I don't know that you're a warlock. It's very clear. You want to know what gives it away?" He shuts the file very slowly. It's that your horns aren't shaved. It's that you're a tiefling whose eyes have changed colors the night before. It's that you have this almost electric air about you as he continues to file away.
That small penis.
It's almost like there's something off about you. And it's not just the fact that you have this strange colored skin or this, he kind of like reaches up and kind of like tilts your chin up a bit until your horns click against the back of the thing. And he starts like rubbing the file against your chin. Do you have a beard?
I got a slight like little goat.
A little goat.
Yeah.
He kind of like runs the file through your beard and kind of like lifts your chin up with it as far as he can lift it up. And he says, "Or the fact that you have this forked tongue upon your cheeks that now you wish to send honeyed words to me through." Yeah, he like lets your head go and slaps you across the top of the head with a file and begins to file again.
I would not touch those horns if I were you. Have you never heard of the great fiend Zarbdock?
He laughs, and so basically, his while he's filing away, his stomach is like even with your forehead, and you see like the little shaving dust of your horn start to sprinkle off into your hair.
I cast Thaumaturgy to make the ground shake.
All right. Are you trying to intimidate him?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Do I need to roll an intimidation check?
Please.
Oh,
18.
how close?
Oh,
is,
wow.
How close is he to me? Just
Nice.
He is at the opposite end of the stocks from you.
Oh, okay.
So Mel and Nadar would be closest to this.
I rolled an 18.
So not just him, but a lot of guards in the courtyard look over at the fearsome ground trembling, and you guys see that this guard drops the file and kind of steps away back. While your horn wasn't filed down very significantly, you did lose your point on that side, on your right side.
That's right. Take heed, mere mortal. The great Zarbdock is my protector. I want to like make my eyes flash white a little bit.
He looks a bit terrified. High or low for one?
High.
Did he say something? High or low, man?
I said high. I said high.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear you. So I rolled like the opposite of that. So he looks at you in fear, and like you can see the flight or fight response kick in, and he looks at you and he socks you in the face, and then steps away quickly and runs.
You know what? I had that coming. That's fine.
You take 6 points of not permanent damage. So like your health is reduced by 6 for a little bit. It'll be healed. It'll be healed in a short amount of time.
All right. I just start talking. I just start talking to myself, and I'm just when it looks like I'm talking to myself, and I'm just like, "Hey, look, I thought that was a good idea. I don't know if you're a great fiend or whatever the fuck you are. It was a good idea. It couldn't have hurt."
Are you the needle of our group?
I'm just gonna go.
Okay.
Yeah. Who are you talking to, bro? Bruh.
Nadar says that, bruh.
So long story short, when I was a kid, blah blah blah, sacrificial rite, blah blah blah. Now there's a spirit that lives inside of me. His name's Zarbdock. He's kind of an asshole, but I kind of deal with it.
Okay, I'm gonna ask one of the guards next to me. So, how long is this public humiliation thing gonna last? Because my church is a couple of miles that way, and I kind of want to get back there as soon as I can.
The guard looks at you, and he says, "Hush now, little lamb. You wandered from your flock, but the shepherd has come."
What was it?
That was a terrible analogy.
Yeah.
Can I insight check that to see what he means?
Yes, you may.
12.
So, you gather that he's definitely talking about an individual. He's not being prophetic or anything, and this individual is more than likely the man who's entering the arena right now. You guys see a guy in what looks to be like some medium armor with a bow on his back, and what looks to be like this like double-edged kind of like awesome-looking longsword strapped to his backside as well. And you see him climb up in there, and he puts on these gloves that have like these like strange blue metal knuckles.
Uh-oh.
You see him kind of like tilt his head left and right and crack it, and he reaches up and he takes off the faceplate to the helmet that he's wearing. It slides down and he drops it on the ground. The helmet that he's wearing is like this blue metal as well, and you can't tell what kind of armor he's wearing beyond the description I've given you, but it's of that same blue metal. When it hits the ground, you guys see that this must be an elf. Only there's something dark and twisted about him. His skin is of a purple color, and white hair flows down to his shoulders when the helmet hits the ground. It takes a brief moment, but the rest of you suddenly recognize that it is a drow standing upon the stage.
Who's next to me, Ian?
Besides you is Davros and Watt.
I look over to them and I say, they call him Metal Knuckles because he has metal knuckles.
I almost hope we die here.
Yeah, I've made peace with my gods.
If I never have to be subjected to that again, I would be okay.
I'm just gonna... I heard mumbling. I'm gonna pretend it wasn't a pun that I heard.
What does he say, Adam?
I'm just gonna, like, look over at you think for a second, and then just kind of look back towards Metal Knuckles. That's officially his name now. It's Metal Knuckles.
Good.
So we recognize him as a drow, right?
Everyone may roll a history check.
9.
Additionally, if you have the information that I gave to you about the Black Hand making more public appearances, you recognize this man. Who is that? Was that you, Swain?
What?
Who did I give that information to? The Black Hand is making more public appearances.
Me. Sorry, you cut out a little bit.
No problem. So,
I was rolled a natural 20 on the history roll.
All right.
I rolled a 5.
All right, so
17.
Davros, this man's infamy lives on in not only Elvish lore, but into the Fourth Age. Before you, you see a dark elf that you recognize as Galvnarak. Galvnarak is a drow of the Underdark who long since ago surfaced to, let's just say, cause terror to the people for fun. And his deeds and accomplishments on the surface world soon drew the attention of the Emperor himself. And he was very quickly promoted through the ranks of just being a standard foot soldier to something much more, and is now personally ascended to one of the states of the Black Hand. He's called the Shepherd. He's called this because he is the man that they call to reign in the flock, the man that goes out and retrieves those who have gotten lost from his way. He is the Emperor's truest and bluest enforcer when it comes to following word for word what the Emperor says. This man always goes out and always finds the Emperor's quote-unquote missing sheep. Only the Emperor has a tendency to eat the sheep as opposed to tend to them. So
who is this guy? Am I supposed to be impressed by Metal Knuckles over here?
I'm gonna yell out, excuse me, Mr. Metal Knuckles, sir, can I go back to my church now? I feel like we've been publicly humiliated enough.
He looks at you, and in Elvish, he says aloud to the group, "Welcome. Welcome. It's nice to see all these traitors in one place. It does make my job that much easier reining in the fools and the ne'er-do-wells. But I've come here to enact a unique brand of justice upon you. All of you have been accused of the treasonous crime of claiming dragon heritage when you do not have it." He eyes Nadar and he says, "And you are indeed a special case, claiming the Emperor's throne as if but a common dragonborn had the right to it."
I did what? Say that again.
Last night, do you not remember? You laid claim upon the throne as if it were your own.
In Elvish, I can respond with, "See, that's the common theme right now, is that nobody knows what the hell we did except for you guys. None of us do."
Can somebody tell me what's going on? I don't speak Elvish. What's going on?
In Draconic, I'm like, I don't know what's going on either.
I don't speak Draconic!
In Undercommon, I'm like, I don't know what's going on either.
Common people, talk to me in Common. Anybody speak Infernal?
I would tell them, like, I would never lay claim to the throne. Like, I don't want it. I just want to know who the hell I am and where I come from.
How can I lay
claim to who I am?
He grins and Mel pipes up. Yeah, and look, I'm a human. Human. That's the guy you want.
Except your hands are in a stock, so you're like human, that guy, that guy,
not human, dragonborn, human. This guy.
You got your hands. Your hands are like forehead level. You're like pointing your fingers at him. Like, no, that guy. That guy. As you like inch your fingers back and forth. The elf grins
All that
and surveys the group, and he looks up at the orb that's floating in the sky, that is still currently presenting the image to the world around you. And he says, "Feast your eyes, gentlemen." The orb bathes into a black color before coming back to that milky white and revealing an image of what looks to be like a glorious throne room. Emeralds and rubies encrust the floor and in tiles, and upon it you see a giant black carpet with a red trim to it, and you see U6 wielding armor and weapons, bash in through the front door. A bolt of energy flies from Amnon's hand and strikes a guard in the chest, blowing him down. You see Dejo flip over the back of a guard, land on the shoulder of him, draw his arrow and fire the arrow straight down to the top of the guard's head, before leaping off of that guard and throwing a knife out and hitting another one.
As you're saying that, the dog's like looking down at him like, God,
Yes, Dejo's doing these things in the image.
I'm gonna look over and I'm like,
What am I doing in the image?
Next, you see Nadar burst. There was actually a really big cut just now. What happened? Who's saying what now?
Nothing. You can keep going. It's fine.
No problem. So, you guys see now that Mel steps in, and Mel holds up his finger like a gun, grins, and points and fires a bolt of energy. And it strikes the throne as the Emperor himself rolls underneath it, and draws blade. Finally, Nadar crashes in the room beside Davros as Davros wild shapes into a massive crocodile. The crocodile charges at several of the guards who have drawn weapons and starts thrashing its tail and biting at them.
Okay.
shut your mouth.
No, I'm asking. So this is all just happening on the projector. This isn't.
Yeah,
I'm looking over, and they're still all in their cages, right?
Yeah.
Like he's showing us what happened like last night, right?
a couple nights ago.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm just gonna be like,
Supposedly.
how drunk were all of we?
Wait,
Okay,
I what was
found
the
out the
cool thing
problem.
Nadar did?
Hmm?
What was the cool thing Nadar did? For arrogant right.
Oh, so Nadar rushes into the room, and you see his blade glow a glorious white as he drops the sword down to his side and points a finger at the Emperor, and he says, "Your tyranny ends here. I will release this kingdom from all the evil you've done. You've done so much to all of us, made Dragonborn and their ilk feel as if they have to rule, that they are born to be tyrannical leaders. I'm here to end that notion. All races shall live freely and equally."
I love that doesn't sound like me at all. I don't know what else to say after that.
So here's the
The
thing.
Emperor...
So here's the thing. How do we know that this is what we actually did, or not just some bullshit that you're feeding us? Just because my scaly friend over here happens to look like a Dragonborn.
We want insight to see if there's like any flaws with this video.
Okay. I've got a problem with this. I call the guard's attention.
None of them pay attention to you as the image continues to play. The Emperor stands up and sheaths his blade after having drawn it, and lowers his head and puts his hands, palms facing out. The Emperor, who is a black dragonborn and has red eyes, bows his head and opens his palms out, and he says, "If you so wish to strike me down, I will not fight you, as I am the savior of this land, and you would deprive them of something most great by taking me from it. I have heard my call, my vocation. Have you?" And Nadar screams out, "Pretender!" and rushes forward before a giant flash of white light streams through the room and strikes all the characters through the chest, and they collapse onto the ground.
I didn't.
Upon your chest, you see an emblazoned emblem of what looks to be like an 8 with corners on the octagons as opposed to, or corners on the circles as opposed to just a flat circle. So what we have basically what looks to be like 2 squares stacked on top of each other to look like an 8. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
tilted square and a tilted square. And drawn through that square is a line and then a circle coming out from each tip of the line to encompass the squares.
And so that's actually on our chests. We've seen it on our chest now, or is that on the projection?
You don't. So on the projection, you see it. You do not see it on your chests.
Was Mel?
Is the projection over yet?
Yes, the projection ends after that, as you guys like collapsed on the floor, and the Emperor stays there grinning, and he says, "Balthazarus has granted me truth," and the image fades away.
Can we all roll insight checks to make sure that if we know that's bullshit?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Oh, you
Yeah,
don't need to
same.
roll. It strikes you as 100% bullshit.
He's just like.
All right, so
"Yeah,
I've got
I'm actually that cool.
couple major flaws with this. If anyone wants to listen to me, I like call out towards the guards.
The man on stage holds up what looks to be like an emblem bearing the black hand symbol. It is a dragon's talon, only it is on a black plane with a red circle, and the black hand centered in the center of that red circle. Its claws extending into the black plane are unseen. In the center of it, it begins to glow a hot white energy. And he says, "I will show you the pretenders that you are. I will show everyone that you are what you are lying about." He holds it up and he lets the energy build and build and build in it until he starts firing it off individually at you guys, then striking you in the chest with it. You feel your chest burn for a moment, and the white little cloth that you've been wearing, like the burlap sack almost of like prisoner's cloth you're wearing, has a hole burned in it, and upon it, you guys see that you actually have a tattoo upon your chest now of the emblem that was shown to you in the shrine, or in the not the shrine, in the orb above you.
Well, that wasn't there before.
Hell yeah.
Again, how drunk were we? Jesus.
So I still have issues.
So get some tissues.
So he takes the little emblem and casts it aside, and uncloaks the cloth on his back and drapes it over one of the rungs of the ring. And he motions to the guard and he says, "The first one." The guard walks over to Dijo's. The guard walks over to Dijo, and begins to unshackle him, and grab him by the nape of his neck and lift him up. While another guard approaches Davros, and takes the pommel of his weapon and strikes him over the top of the head.
Wow.
I would still like to speak.
The guard looks up at the man as they drag Dijo up, waiting for approval, and the man says, "He's conscious, hit him again, he's trying to talk." The guard strikes you over the head again. You took 5 damage from the first one, and 6 damage from this one.
This is who?
This is Davros.
Okay.
I am unconscious from that.
Alright, it is not lethal damage.
So am I conscious?
Just
Can I spare the dying on him?
You're incapacitated. That's all it means. It means that you've dropped to 0. You're very barely cognizant. You can't really speak or make any actions, and you can't defend yourself. But you are conscious. This is like the equivalent to being severely dazed. Like you ever like smacked your head against the table, or like a ball or something like that, and then like, couldn't do anything for a pretty long period of time because it just hurt so bad.
Or like a concussion.
Like a concussion.
I just rest
That's
the
several.
middle fingers.
You just raised 2 middle fingers is all you said?
No, I just rest my hands into that position.
Oh, okay. So, Davros, you smell like copper, and you definitely taste it in your mouth as your vision swirls around you, and the rain begins to pick up, and the hair on your head is soaked and falls into your face, and you don't have the energy to move. As now you see the man finishes dragging Dijo up onto the stage and throws Dijo into the stage alongside the dark elf. Dijo, your hands and arms are still your arms are bound and your feet are still bound.
Okay. I am conscious, right?
Yeah, you haven't been injured.
Okay.
I don't think you have.
No.
It happens to Dijo a lot. Did you get punched, kicked, or stabbed or anything? It happens a lot to you.
No. Not yet. Probably will soon though.
Yeah, no, it's coming.
So he put me into the same area as the Galvnorek.
As the as Galvnorek, yes.
Okay. I say. Hey, Metal Knuckles. How's it hanging?
He reaches down and grabs you by the cuff of your shirt and lifts you up, and he says, "If you are not a pretender, defend yourself. That same prowess that you showed upon the image a moment ago. Strike me down with it. Will you not?" As he
Mortal
punches you in the
Kombat!
chin.
Does it look like I can fight him?
Dijo, you take 4 points of non-lethal damage.
I take 4 points of non-lethal damage. Okay.
You're like dead.
Mhm.
We're on stocks.
Yeah, we're in
Oh, we're in
stocks.
stocks. I thought we were looking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So, Dijo, you're wrapped
Jesus.
upon the chin. You feel your teeth clap up against the roof of your mouth. You taste the smell. You taste copper, and you feel as if you might have bit your tongue. And the world around you spins in stars as the prisoners all scream out, and cheering for the man to strike you again. You hear the sounds of rain now beating against the floor of the arena, and everyone else is watching as Dijo begins to get himself ruthlessly beaten.
Can I make an acrobatics check to avoid one attack?
Yes.
Avoid one. At least one.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, let me double check everything real quick. Okay. Alright. Okay. 13.
13. Yeah, Dijo. You tilt your head to one side as he goes to strike you once. And his fist goes straight over your shoulder. And he kind of pauses and he looks at you, a bit surprised. You said bitch?
I did.
He looks at you and grins. He grabs your ankles, tilts you to the side, and straight up just banes you. Like, just across the knee, dude. You hear the sounds of snapping as your back hits his kneecap.
Split disc now.
Am I still conscious?
You feel... You are still conscious, yes. Oh, yeah. He wants you to feel it. You feel like all senses about you are completely torn from you for a moment. As, like, the wind is knocked out of you. It feels as if, like, your legs lose all feeling from it before they come rushing back with pain. And you feel your back just warped horribly by his knee as he continues to bend you, but he lifts you up and throws you on the mat.
Oh, God. I don't suppose I'd be able to speak after that.
Yes, you may speak.
I mean, like, physically. I just say...
Yeah, you can talk a little bit.
I'm just like, ah. Is that all you've got? Is that all you've got? Never mind, I'm
I'd
sorry.
like to get perception checks from the group.
Perception checks. Doot, 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 doot.
Dijo's trying not to look like a bitch, but he's
19.
being a bitch.
15, Ian.
21.
15? 21.
Yeah. Do you need one from me?
Yes.
12.
Let's see. What about you, Don?
What? Sorry, I blacked out.
Perception check, please.
Not very well. 7.
Awesome. So, if you roll higher than a 12, you notice that on the top of the U-shaped guard buildings, running along the actual rooftops is a man in a cloak with a sword belted to his waist and the hood drawn tightly across the top of his head.
Thank God.
He runs to a halt near the roof and holds up his hand. You see a bolt of lightning conjuring in his hand, and he thrusts his arm back and he throws the lightning bolt straight into the corner of the arena, blowing the arena apart. You see Galvnarak get launched off the stage and land in the water.
Fantastic.
Djo, you remain where you are. The bolt struck the opposite side of the stage you are on. The guy runs along the rooftop again, and this time he throws a throwing knife, and it hits the corner of, let's see, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hits the corner of Watt's shackles, and rests itself in your actual stockade, and breaks off the manacles of your left arm. And you hear the man scream out to you. He says, "Free the others!"
Okay. Do we have any of our equipment?
No, you have that dagger.
Cool. I'm gonna start using that dagger. Well, the wood is all rickety and everything, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, really, if you guys want to, you can make a strength check to try and
Yeah, I was
break it or
gonna
pull
say-
it apart.
I'm just gonna
mind,
strength
I'm like-
check to try to break the wood.
Yeah,
No, I don't.
Davros
Keep in
is-
mind,
Davros
I'm at
is
the
unconscious.
lowest form of consciousness.
Yeah, Davros is unconscious.
Am I like?
Davros was antagonizing guards.
Am I able to like?
I was trying to say.
Okay. So like one strength check for everybody, or do I need to make 5? separate
it is-
strength checks?
Well, so since you have that dagger, you can actually use it to pry the boards open at an advantage, or other characters can make strength checks independently and try and break free themselves, since the actual stockades are pretty rickety.
I say do it with advantage. Just do it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna use the dagger and try to pry them apart.
All right, so go ahead and give me 5 individual strength checks, unless somebody else would like to try and make a strength check.
Am I able to do anything, Ian?
No, just hang on, DJ. You'll see
Okay.
what's gonna happen.
Okay.
You
So
can
I
try and
got
you can try and
2.
crawl if you'd like.
I think I'm fine where I'm at.
All right.
Yeah, but you're rolling with advantage. Remember that.
Is everybody rolling with? Is everybody rolling with advantage, or is it just Watt?
It's just Watt. I don't know if anybody like Nadar or Mel might want to make a strength check to try and break yourself free.
Could it be an athletics check? All right, it was just a strength check.
Yes.
All right, 10.
Yes, you're trying to. Let's say instead of trying to break it, you just try to straight up just stand.
I
So
got
you
a-
like you
I got a
plant
6.
your feet and start lifting your back and start like using your legs to force the thing up.
Awesome. I rolled 10.
6.
Your feet sink into the mud, Nadar.
Of course. Shitty ass. Yeah.
No,
Okay, I rolled really well, so
You're able to systematically go through and free everybody.
basically, yeah, I rolled 2, a 17 that comes out to a 22, a 15 that comes out to a 16.
All right, Watt. So you take
So
your
my
time.
lowest
you run
roll on
around
that
and you're
was 16.
So you're running around, Watt, and you're prying. Yeah, I hope you realize you've wasted your entire campaigns with the good rolls. So you're sitting there and you start prying your dagger into the wood, and you start just breaking the shackles off, breaking the stockade apart. For one of the stockades, you should have run over and plant the dagger in the stockade, and it just falls to pieces somehow. Like you just hit it.
Cool, I'm keeping
Mel, you're
this
just standing there.
dagger.
Watt runs up and strikes it, and it like just falls apart around you while you're still standing in that goofy pose.
All right, cool.
And I'm just gonna pick up.
You're gonna pick up Davros, you said?
I stand up and like.
Yeah, that just.
All right, so the mysterious figure who was on the rooftop drops down and leaps from the rooftops, sailing through the sky. He fires out 3 blasts from each one of his hands. Then they strike cell doors, blowing the doors apart and freeing several prisoners at once. As he screams, "Free yourselves from tyranny!" You see prisoners start rushing out, and several of them start dogging guards that were standing on the sides, while the other guards that are by you guys turn and start running towards the prisoners that are swarming the other guards. You see Galvanarak is trying to stand in the mud, looking a bit dazed. Dejo, the guy that has been helping people, the mysterious figure, runs over to you in his black cloak, leaping up onto the stage. He runs over to you and scoops you up, and he takes a potion and he pours it down your mouth. You feel yourself instantly revitalized.
I'm like, you got another one for him, and like present Davros to him.
What'd you say, Dejo?
I'm like, my hero.
So without looking at you, so he basically pours it into your mouth without like looking down at you, keeping his face camouflaged behind his hood. He says, "Put yourself together and get the others." He reaches up and he digs into his bag and he flips another vial straight at you, Watt. Give me a sleight of hand check.
Oh god, it's gonna hit the stock
Okay.
break.
Oh Jesus.
Try to lick the healing.
14.
All right, he flings it at you and you grab it out of the air deftly, with ease. The vial feels smooth, and is made of a fine glass, with a cork top. The liquid inside of it glows a deep red color. And when you pop the cork off, it smells of fragrant ambrosia. What'd you say, Adam?
To Davros' mouth.
All right, Davros, you taste sweet honey as you come to, and you smell ambrosia, almost as if there are flower petals in your face.
Wakey wakey, eggs and bakey.
I immediately start looking for the guard that was hitting me in the head.
I'm still
the
like
man
holding
drops
you
down.
and cradling you.
The man drops down and he says, "Come, we're leaving." And you hear a booming voice, almost as if it's speaking through a megaphone out of character. And it says, "And where do you think you're going?" And the guy looks at you, the mysterious figure looks at you, and he says, "Quickly, to the stage!" And he runs over to the stage.
Hey, Ian, we're all free. Is there any of the guards that get dropped, like that? The guy with the pole arm, did he drop that or a weapon anywhere?
No, they've all run off to the sides of the jail to climb up the ladders leading up to each side of the U-shaped section.
Okay, I didn't know if any of them had gotten hit and died.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Nadar's first. I need a weapon.
I'm gonna run
in that
still
direction.
carrying Davros and following the mysterious guy.
I'm gonna take a second and channel, think for a second, close my eyes, and then when my eyes open, they're white, and I've mystically channeled my scimitar into my hand.
Okay.
That must be nice.
I can bring the scimitar into my hand I can bring the scimitar into my hand whenever I want, but I gotta deal with this asshole nagging me all the fucking time. So, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, right?
Oh, scimitar again.
I look at you and I'm like, you got another one of those?
I wish.
Useless. I keep running.
fucking Dragonborns.
Oh, the nicest Dragonborn you'll ever meet. Fucking hell.
So you guys run up to the edge of the arena and start climbing up, and Galvanarak comes to his feet, turns and looks at the group, and he chuckles and he says, "Ah, so you've come! That's excellent news! All of you can die together! This is so good!"
I firebolt him in the middle of the street.
interrupting villains in their monologues 101.
No, I'm just like, no, fuck you, man.
You did the pistol.
I fired.
Rolled a hit.
Oh, I definitely missed. I rolled a. I'm just like, that was a warning shot. You should just.
My internet just shit out.
Yeah, I have a question. Can I try and like trip him while he's distracted by the fireball and Eric?
You're quite far from him. You're on the stage with everybody else.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then.
Yes. I mean, I guess if you wanted to run over and grab him by the ankle and try to lift it. So, as you guys climb up onto the stage, the mysterious figure takes a deep breath, leans back, and from the back of his cloak, from like the back of the hood, you see some blue energy swirling, and a lightning bolt spews out of the mouth of the hood and hits the now water pooling in the arena and electrifies everything. You see guards screaming in pain and collapsing onto the ground, and you see Galvanarak scream, take a couple of steps, and you see him kind of like reach a hand out, and you see him swirl into mist before the mist leaps up onto the platform, dropping to his knees on the spectator's box. After a moment, the electricity clears the air, clears the water, and you see guards collapsed on the ground, either unconscious or dead. The man says, "Get your armor, get your weapons from them, and go."
Where would our weapons be?
In the trash can.
He looks at he he cocks an eyebrow. He says,
Where's the
"Scavenge."
trash can?
On the way out, Nadar stops and looks through the trash.
He says, "Scavenge." He looks at you blankly. He says, "Scavenge them," is what I meant.
Oh,
Okay. Any of them have chainmail armor?
I'm good.
So you guys drop down into the water and start running over, and you realize that there's really no way for you to actually pull this armor off these guys. You could probably grab the weapons, maybe grab some pauldrons or some gloves or something like that, but you can't actually pull off the chest pieces.
Fantastic.
All right, what's the first weapon we come across?
Cool. Does anybody have a warhammer?
There's got to be like an armory around here somewhere, right?
So here's what I'm going to do.
I want to pull one.
I'm going to roll the table of weapons. And I will tell you guys what you get.
It needs to be in there.
Okay. I mean, I still have my dagger.
So, Watt, you come across and you find a polearm, if you'd like to use that.
Sure.
It's the first thing you come to. All right. So you pick up a halberd, which is basically just like a. It's 1d10.
Cool.
Let's see. Eric, do you need one? Does
No,
Mel need a weapon?
No, like whenever he said that, I just pat myself down. I'm like, I'm good.
Look at your hands, like.
All right.
Yeah, I got it.
Nadar. Ooh, Nadar. You find a battle axe.
Yes. Like, sir. I know how.
Oh, neat. Nick, you find a. Let's see. You find a quarterstaff. Basically,
You said a quarterstaff?
weapons. Yeah, you find what looks to be like one of the weapons, but the head has been broken off, and you've just got the actual metal pole. And then you realize,
Cool.
oh, I can't use this because you're a. Oh no, you can wield a metal weapon as a druid. That's right.
Yep. Just can't wear metal.
Yeah, you just can't wear metal.
Shillelagh for the win.
Flame blade.
Shillelagh for the
Let's see. Next is
for grilled cheese, Eric.
Dijo. You run up to one of the dudes, pat him down. You see that he's got a short sword and a short bow on his back.
Hey.
You basically find. I rolled a nat 20. You find the equipment that you would normally use on him.
I found 2 daggers on the hill.
It looks like he took it off of you and then put it on.
Does he have 2 daggers as well?
Your engraving.
He has. This is a very well equipped guard. He has a dagger, a short sword, and a bow.
And it just says property of DJ written on it. Son of a bitch.
Everybody, please return to address of.
So
Here's my
As you guys are gathering your gear and your armor, the mysterious figure turns, and he draws a blade, and it looks to be like a curved longsword.
Ah, I see your
Uh,
Schwartz is
you're
as
not
big as
sh-
mine.
The blade is a thin, single-edged weapon, with a small square-shaped hilt, and a beautiful handle, made of some kind of fine leather. And he kind of like turns and looks at you guys out of the corner of his hood, and he says, "Fly, fly, you fools!"
Gandalf, no!
Boo.
My wing.
Wait, I don't know how to fly.
As he says
Oh,
this,
damn it, I want to share
a
the
man-
experience from the Balrog.
Think happy
so,
thoughts.
as he says this, a man from the spectator's box drops down in full plate armor, hits the ground, and crushes a guard that was standing beneath him.
Jesus.
As he rises up, he draws a greatsword off of his backside, and like takes the edge and drops it on the ground. You see that his plate armor is that of black with red trim.
Ooh, that's a bad
And
guy.
he has a tabard across the center side, tied to his waist by a cord.
Dibs.
The tabard is that of a black hand. And his helmet, though it is an open front-faced helmet with a center metal piece down the side like that of a Trojan helmet, bears no face behind it, as all you see is ghostly red eyes glowing behind a black, otherwise shadowy helmet.
Neat.
He looks up after having hit the ground, kind of like a superhero landing, or in this case, a supervillain landing, and he says, "Yes, run." All right, and that's it for this episode, guys.
Woo!
It's been a crazy episode 1.
Woo! Ye
Yeah.
old Payless.
Payless indeed.
Oh,
All
Payless.
right, tune in next week for some more Your Daily Dungeon Antics, proudly presented by Your Daily Nerd. Thank you so much, guys, for listening, and tune in next week to see what happens after the gang, how they're gonna get out of this mess.